Hey everyone, today's lecture is an extension of last week's talk on adapting to audiences, and we're going to talk in specific detail about just one of the concepts we talked about last week, and that is Aristotle's ideas of genres of rhetoric, the epidictic or ceremonial, the forensic or judicial, and the deliberative type. Let me start with a couple of examples. Imagine for a moment that you've gotten into an argument at some place about which city is better, Charleston or Savannah, and you want to defend that Charleston is better. What are the available arguments you have at your disposal? If you had to make a list of the best arguments you could make to convince that person that Charleston was in fact the better city, what would they be? Could you list them out? These are what Aristotle called topoi, T-O-P-O-I, topoi. And what topoi are just general patterns of argument that a speaker or a writer has at their disposal to make against a group of people or in favor of a particular idea. Let's take another example. Let's say that you're going to appeal a grade, and you're speaking to a professor about appealing that grade. What are the available lines of argument that you have at your disposal? What can you say that will hopefully convince that professor to change your grade or give you another chance? You could question the fairness of the grade. You could question the justness of the assignment. Or perhaps you could say that some personal circumstances got in the way of your success, and minus those personal circumstances, you could do a lot better. I think there may be a few more, but that's about it. In other words, in any given genre of argumentation, in any given place that you're in, you can't just make any argument under the sun. There are certain environmental and occasional limitations on what you can say. What Aristotle teaches us in his book, The Rhetoric, which was written in the 4th century BCE, right after the death of Socrates and Plato, is that each occasion, and he's talking about genres of occasions, the epidictic, the deliberative, and the forensic, each occasion imposes a kind of argumentative burden as well as constraints on the argumentative resources of the person speaking in that occasion. If you're speaking in a deliberative occasion, you need to show cause for change to the status quo, so you need to show that there's some current harm that exists and that your proposal addresses that harm. And there are other sorts of topoi that exist in forensic and epidictic arenas, and that's what this lecture is going to talk about, is getting into this idea of not just the occasion, but also how you as a speaker can analyze your occasion, analyze your audience, and analyze your subject to figure out what are the best arguments that you can make, what are your topoi, and then making that longer list, and then winnowing that list down into figuring out what are the best claims that you can make to advance a thesis and convince an audience of your argument.